Hello. Today, we're going to be cooking bacon the way I like to cook it. So, typically, you start with a cold skillet. And you lay your bacon down, just like the package says. Now, I'm going to be making 3 pieces today. And the only things you will need besides the bacon and a skillet and heat is somewhere to put the bacon, unless you're just going to eat it off the pan, I guess. And I like to have a spatula to press on it while it's cooking, and some tongs to mess with it. Now you want to kind of try to make sure all of the bacon is as flat as you can get it. So I'm going to lay it all down and then kind of show you. And it's going to shrink in size as it cooks, so keep that in mind. As long as you keep pressing on it evenly, it should all cook exactly the same. One thing I see a lot of people do when I worked at restaurants and stuff is they won't press on the bacon or toy with it. They'll just let it kind of sizzle. And you know, that's fine if you don't care about the food or where it's going, but personally, if I'm eating it, I want the whole thing to be cooked evenly. So that's why I kind of invested into this metal spatula. This piece is kind of being annoying, but I think I can curve it. It should be fine. So I'm going to kind of wash my hands of this grease. I like to use my fingers a lot. Germs aren't going to kill you, they'll make you stronger. So I have 2 extra pieces, I'm going to have to slide them back in here. So put your other bacons away. Seal it, kind of seal it so air doesn't get to it as much. Put it in your fridge. Alright. So, about as even as I can kind of get it. They're all touching flat, so. So what you'll do next is you're going to turn your heat on to a little bit of a medium. It's about where you're going to want it. Here. Position my camera so you can see what's going on. So, as the bacon starts, the only thing I like to put on mine is pepper. I never used to like pepper, but as an adult, for some reason, I do. So I try to make sure that everything's evenly coated. And it's fine if it goes off the side. I mean, it's just all going to cook around the bacon and stuff. So, now that it's starting, it's going to take about 4-ish minutes. You can go a little higher if you want. I've cooked at a lot of restaurants, so I'm used to cooking at a very high and fast speed, but you already see some of the bacon starting to move around. So this is where I'm going to start pressing on these spots that I see jumping up. It will get smoky too. I have a thing over my fire alarm, so I don't want to have the fan on the whole time. You can open a window or have a fan on somewhere else in your house too. Will help. You can kind of see that the one piece already kind of shrunk into position, so they're all kind of in a line now. Turn it down just a little. And even the spots that are not popping up, you're going to want to press on everything to get a really nice even kind of sear on the bacon. You can put it in the oven. I just personally like food when it's fresh, so I always cook everything right when I want it, basically. So nice even presses. Get the bacon all kind of closer together. The juices will kind of intermingle with each other and help them cook. And then we can press on more surface area as well. I'm going to use the plate to put my spatula on. And then this is about where we're going to try to flip. So we got a little bit of sear going on. Kind of show you on the one side you have a bit of a sear happening, so that's about when I want to kind of start flipping. And when you flip, you want to kind of reposition your bacon, so this one on the side here will be on the far side now. And it's fine if you lay one sideways for a second and move another. And then the ends are all flipped around too now. So get them all close together again. Put our tongs back. And then repress as we were doing. You can get a bacon press too. It's something I plan on getting soon. So when I was working at a lot of restaurants, they had those, and God, it made making perfectly crisp bacon so easy. Especially if you have one that fits over the whole piece. Nice even sears. You're going to kind of move the pan around, different angle, make sure that heat's dispersed. Move this all up a little. And now that you're on the other side too, I like to coat the other side with pepper as well. That side is not going to get coated by splashing around really. You can put a tiny bit of butter in at the end too, and it's going to change the flavor of your bacon, but it's also butter. Don't put it in at the start. If you put butter at the start, it's going to burn. So as the bacon starts to get going, it's going to saturate in its own juices basically, and that's going to kind of help fry it essentially as you're cooking it on the pan. You want to make sure everything is getting coated by those juices. It's kind of pressed on. My main thing is these ends on both sides. They always like to stick up and be a different temperature than the rest of the food or the bacon. So nice presses. Nice presses. Drip some grease off. And then we will flip again. And this is what we're looking like now. Definitely a lot crispier on one side. And yeah, I know I'm dripping grease on my floor. Oh well, it's my floor. So, bacon together. And this one little side, if you can see, kind of wants to keep curling up right there. So, that's going to be our problem child. We're going to have to make sure the heat is pressed down. And one thing I like to do is slide it all to the edge and force all that grease all onto the edge, so you're kind of frying that edge that doesn't want to cook right. So it'll cook it all the way through. And to press, you're basically guaranteed to have that little bit of raw part cooked with the rest of the bacon, because you're forcing it to cook faster. Now depending on how done you want your bacon is when you're going to pull it off. I personally don't want it brown, like pitch black, but I don't like food that looks raw. So any white parts I'm not a fan of. And we are about done actually. I'm going to do one more flip. Yeah. And so, this one piece is still a little raw, but the other pieces are not. So we will take off piece one. And when I take them off, you kind of want to do a little action like that, and make sure that some of the grease is off the pan, but I don't put it on a paper towel. The grease is part of the fucking flavor, so personally I'm not going to do that. And then the one little part that's raw still, I'm going to sit here and fry it in the corner here. The rest of the piece is already done, but that little white piece I saw was still a little raw, so I'm going to dip it in its own grease, and it is done. So drip, 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 drip. Drip, 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 drip. Take off my utensils, put the bacon there. Now, you can add brown sugar or sugar. near the end of the cooking process, and it will basically caramelize your bacon. Just make sure you stir it in right. There's videos about that. I just don't do it because I'm kind of sweets. But anyways, so when you are done, let me flip the camera here. Boop, boop, boop. Hello. You end up with bacon that looks like this. Perfect. There's a hair on my plate though. That's kind of sad. Alright, well, I hope that helps somebody. Have a good day.